Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're cracking open a paradox that's hiding in plain sight all across the economy.
Construction.
Exactly, construction, because there's this massive cognitive dissonance happening right now.
There really is. I mean, if you just look at one side of the ledger, the industry is absolutely booming.
You see it everywhere.
The sources are clear, permits are way up. There are huge public works projects finally getting off the ground. Private money is just pouring in.
So everything should be great. A healthy, growing workforce, right?
You would think so. But that's where the paradox kicks in. The industry is in overdrive, but the workforce itself seems to be, well, collapsing.
And the stats are pretty stark. We're not talking about an average age of 25 for a skilled tradesperson, not even 35.
No, we're looking at mid-40s, somewhere between 42 and 47 years old, which is staggering.
That's not just a number. That's a demographic warning light flashing bright red.
It's a cliff edge. And for years, what's been the default complaint you hear from every contractor, every business owner?
Oh, I know this one. Nobody wants to work anymore.
That's the one.
So that's the narrative we're here to really dig into. We're going to look at the sources and ask a pretty uncomfortable question.
Is the construction industry actually dying? Or is it just being replaced by something completely new? Something that's evolving away from the model we've known for the last half-century.
To really get to the bottom of that, we have to look at the two big opposing arguments for why the workforce is shrinking.
Right. Let's call them the traditional view and the adaptation view.
Okay, so the traditional view, that's the one you hear on the job site, right?
Absolutely. It's the idea that the system is fine. It's the people who are flawed. It basically says construction isn't dying. Young people are just lazy.
And then there's the other side of that coin.
The adaptation view, which completely flips the script. It argues this is a systemic crisis. The industry just failed to adapt to, modern life, and now it's paying a very steep price for it.
So this deep dive is really about pressure testing those two ideas. Let's start with the popular one, the hardship argument. What are the specific things the older generation points to when they say younger workers can't handle it?
It's that classic list of hardships, the things that have defined the trades forever. Sometimes they're even romanticized by the people who endured them.
Like the 6 a.m. starts.
Or earlier, the long commutes, often unpaid, the brutal weather, freezing cold, blistering heat, and just the pure physical toll it takes on your body.
There's also that cultural piece, right? The sources mention a rejection of the old school job site culture.
Yeah, specifically getting yelled at by foremen, that whole top-down, tough guy environment.
And underneath all of that is this kind of generational challenge.
It always is. We did it, we broke our backs, we sacrificed, why can't they? The assumption is that the work is hard, period, and if you resist that, it's some kind of moral failing.
Okay, I think we have to pause right there. Because on the surface, that makes a certain kind of sense. Construction is hard.
Incredibly hard.
But that's exactly where that whole argument starts to fall apart. This idea that young people are just allergic to hard work. The data doesn't back that up at all.
Not even a little bit. If Gen Z and younger millennials just rejected effort across the board, we wouldn't see them thriving in other really demanding fields.
I mean, just look around. They're signing up for 12-hour shifts in Amazon warehouses. They're grinding it out in high-pressure startups for like 70-hour weeks.
They're doing these intense coding boot camps designed to break you. They're enlisting in the military. These are not easy paths.
So they're choosing intensity, they're choosing hard work, they're just not choosing the kind of hard work that construction is offering.
Exactly. So if it isn't the level of effort, then the problem has to be somewhere else. It's in the structure of the reward. The problem is the deal.
The sources make that so clear. It's not the work, it's the deal. That's what Gen Z is rejecting.
And that's the key insight we have to drill down on. A young person today looks at a 40-year career in the trades, and they don't see a stable path to the middle class anymore.
They see a trap?
A trap. They see 40 years of 5 a.m. alarms. They see the physical cost, the destroyed knees, the bad backs, the shoulders that will need surgery before they can even think about retiring.
They're doing a cold, hard calculation about their own future health.
And then there's the economic instability. You have inconsistent pay, especially in non-union jobs. You have poor health care. And often, there's no clear way to move up. You could be a master of your craft, but still be stuck in the field, limited by what your body can do.
And the kicker is, after all that, you're told to just be grateful for the chance.
Right. And that's why the sources draw that line in the sand. Hard work isn't the turnoff. Exploitation is. They aren't afraid of the effort. They're afraid of being stuck.
And that completely reframes the conversation. It stops being about the character of young people and starts being about the business model of an entire industry.
Which brings us right back to those demographics we started with.
42 to 47 years old. That's the average. What happens in, say, 5 or 10 years when that whole generation of skill and knowledge just retires?
You're left with a massive, massive gap. A broken pipeline.
And that pipeline didn't just break on its own.
No, it was weakened by all these external forces the industry just ignored.
Think about the last 20 years. What happened to wages in the skilled trades? They pretty much stagnated.
Mm-hmm.
And at the exact same time, what happened to housing costs?
They went through the roof.
They exploded.
Yeah.
So if you were a 22-year-old starting out in 1995, your wages could get you a house, a life. Today, those same wages barely cover rent and a truck payment. The deal got fundamentally worse.
And while that was happening, the ways people learned the trades were drying up.
Right. High school shop classes disappeared. Apprenticeships became, just cheap on-the-job labor instead of real training. Mentorship just kind of broke down because everyone was too busy just trying to keep up.
And the industry's response to all of this?
It was just to double down and say, just work harder.
Well, every other industry on the planet was getting smarter. Exactly. Manufacturing, finance, even retail. They were all digitizing, automating, optimizing. Construction just stayed stuck in this 1970s labor model.
And that leads us to the real core thesis here, the conclusion you have to draw from the sources.
Mm-hmm.
The truth most people in the industry don't want to admit is construction isn't dying. But the old model of construction, the one built on an endless supply of cheap brute force labor.
All that's on life support, and it's already being replaced.
The market hates a vacuum. So as the traditional workforce shrinks, this new tech-driven system is rising up to take its place.
A system that's defined by fewer bodies, more systems.
Okay, so let's define that replacement model. What does that actually look like on the ground? We hear a lot about prefabrication, modular builds.
Right, so instead of sending 15 guys to a muddy field to cut every single stud by hand,
In the freezing rain,
you're now building entire wall sections, entire bathroom pods in a climate-controlled factory.
which is safer, it's way more efficient, and it cuts down on waste.
Massively. And at the same time, the complexity is moving from the job site into the office. We're seeing AI-assisted project management that can handle scheduling and ordering better than any human ever could.
So the brain of the operation is shifting.
It's shifting away from chaos on site and toward centralized systems control.
Which means the skill set you need is completely different. You don't need 20 guys who are just good at enduring hardship.
No, you need coordination, you need visibility, you need people who can manage information and troubleshoot systems.
Yeah.
It's not just about muscle anymore.
That old tribal knowledge that was passed down is being replaced by something more efficient.
The era of chaos disguised as experience is finally ending.
And this transition, this evolution, it sets up what might be the most uncomfortable truth in all of our source material.
Which is?
It's now entirely possible to be a licensed general contractor and have never, ever swung a hammer.
And that, right there, says everything about the decay in standards. It shows you how broken the accountability is. The license, in a lot of places, it doesn't actually test the skills you need to run a successful build.
It doesn't test sequencing. The actual order things have to happen in.
Right. You can't put up drywall before the pipes are inspected. It doesn't test how to coordinate trades in a tight space without constant conflict.
Or how to solve problems on the fly when the plans are wrong, which they always are.
And because of that, construction became what the sources call management theater.
Management theater, I like that.
Yeah. You've got the fancy software and the clean clipboard, but on site, it's the same old chaos and miscommunication. It's using tech as a veneer to cover up a basic lack of knowledge.
And young people are smart. They see that dysfunction. They're not rejecting the work of building things. They're rejecting a broken system where their effort is guaranteed, but the reward isn't.
So looking forward, this evolution is just. It's inevitable. The industry will survive, but it's going to look completely different.
The sources paint a picture of an industry with way fewer workers overall.
But those workers who are left will be much more skilled. They'll be tech-savvy. They'll be coordinators. And that shift will mean better pay, more technology, and actual real oversight.
This isn't really a choice. It's just survival. The old way isn't economically sustainable anymore.
So let's wrap this up. Let's go back and answer that first question we asked. Is the construction industry dying?
And the answer, based on everything we've looked at, is a clear no. Construction is not dying. It can't. It's essential.
But the lie it sold about itself for decades, that is dying.
The lie that success only comes from blind loyalty to an outdated, inefficient, and physically destructive model.
Exactly. Hard work and craftsmanship will always matter. But blind loyalty to a broken system, that's over.
The industry is transforming. It's becoming a systems-driven field where your ability to manage information is going to be worth more than your ability to just lift heavy things.
Construction isn't disappearing. It's simply being replaced by its own more advanced version.
And so the only question left for you, the listener, to think about is this. Will you evolve with it, or will you get left behind?